I'm laughing again. You know why?
Why?
Welcome to the SEC, Texas.
Yeah,
Horns down, baby. What's up, Fanout Crew? Jeff and Colby back for the week 2 recap in college football. An absolute wild weekend. We had a great week 1. I think week 2 may have even been a little bit better, maybe. It's hard to get, to beat that special week 1 with a 9-month off season when we don't like to use the O word around here. A 9-month period of not playing games. We'll go with that. But let's get right into it, Jeff. What'd you think about that Ducks versus Bucks game?
Never really cared for Ohio State, especially after Urban Meyer went there from Florida. But I
can't imagine why.
Well, even before he went there, I always felt like they were overrated. Yeah, they're a good team, but I'm an SEC homer. I don't think anybody, any other conference compares to the SEC.
SEC ride or die, basically.
That's it. But you got to give them their credit. They do win a lot of games. Do they have a really hard schedule? That's for debate. I was glad Oregon beat them.
Yeah,
I didn't see it coming. I wouldn't have predicted it, but I'm glad they lost.
Oregon's best player, Kayvon Thibodeau, who's probably the best, pass rusher in the nation. I think Will Anderson may have something to say about that, but I thought for sure they needed Thibodeau to play to win that game. Yeah. Not only did it not even matter, I mean, the story of the game wasn't even about Oregon's defense. They ran straight over Ohio State. They had 9-10 yards of carry. I mean, that's nuts, dude. Ohio State doesn't usually do that. And I don't know. I was really shocked. I thought Ohio State would win. The game is at home. The Horseshoe is a really, crazy place to play. And Cristobal went in there and just ran straight over him, dude. I mean, it was crazy to watch. Ohio State's quarterback had a good game as far as stats. The loss was definitely not on him. Their defense is just not good. I'm shocked by what I was seeing.
They ran the ball for 269 yards, 38 attempts, 7.1 yards per rush.
Okay, I know at one point they were over 9. But still, I mean, that's against an Ohio State defense. I mean, that's impressive. I don't care who you are.
They doubled Ohio State's running.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Minnesota ran all over Ohio State too. Now, Ibrahim is one of the best backs in the country. He's really good at Minnesota, but still, I think we're starting to see a trend here. This is Ryan Day's first loss in the regular season. I mean, it had to happen. It had to happen at some point. Right. I was really shocked by some of the defensive calls they were making. They look completely lost on defense. I mean, I've never seen Ohio State look that bad.
Well, I didn't think they were worth a crap last year. They played 6 games.
Yeah, it's hard to judge with that few amount of games and stuff. And plus, the Big Ten even changed the rules to allow
for them
Ohio State to play in the Big Ten championship game. Yes. So, should they have been in the playoffs based on their resume? Probably not. Were they one of the 4 best teams in the country? Probably. But at the same time, it's really hard to judge when you're playing an all-conference schedule and you only play 6 games.
Right. And you've got to play. You got to play a whole season, man. You can't just play 6 games and be like, okay, well, we're still one of the best teams. You can lose any game in any year.
Right.
There's no guarantee you're going to go undefeated. Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed the all-conference schedule. I wish they would bring it back because to me, it creates a lot of mystery as to how good the teams really are. Yeah. And then when you put them against each other, it's like we thought Notre Dame and Clemson were good last year based on their first game. And I know the second game, Clemson blew them out. But then when we saw them in the playoffs, it was like, oh, these teams are just bad. They're not good. Yeah. Clemson got their ass kicked last year by Ohio State. And I mean, inevitably the playoffs are going to expand and you're going to have a 3-loss team win a championship. And then college football is pretty much going to be dead to me, but it is what it is. Let's talk about Notre Dame and Florida State. I know you've got some thoughts on those 2 teams, particularly from last week's game.
Yeah, last week I predicted Notre Dame to wax the floor with
I did too.
Florida State. And then I watched the game and I'm like, okay, well, they finally put Mackenzie Milton in. And I was like, well, if they play him, if they would have started him, they would have had a chance.
every time he ran the ball, I was like sweating bullets. I was like, please don't get hurt. Don't get hurt.
Yeah.
It was such a good story.
Did you see his mom?
Yes. She was just like a nervous wreck, dude. I mean, I don't even know how she was able to watch it.
Yeah, they so I wanted to come back to that my statement and be like, well, I was wrong. Well, maybe I wasn't wrong. Maybe both teams are just that bad. Like,
yeah. That was hard to watch last night. My wife isn't.
Notre Dame should have lost to Toledo last night.
Yep.
Like they came back last minute and wound up pulling it out. Florida State looked awful last night. Just pure awful. How do you lose to Jacksonville State? Like, it's like a high school team. I mean, I can't say that. A lot of teams have lost to like Appalachian State and stuff, but
sure.
you don't. If you're Florida State, you don't lose those games.
That shows you how far they've fallen. I mean, my wife her whole family's big time Florida State fans, and I was rooting for them. I mean, I was like really hoping they'd pull it out. I cannot remember seeing a worse defensive strategy than that last play. It's like they had two players deep covering the same guy, and then they kind of ran into each other, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Mike Norvell needs to get it together, man. He seems like he's completely in over his head. I don't know if he's it, man.
Well, this is how I look at Florida State. At Gulf Breeze, when we both went to Gulf Breeze.
Yep.
Whenever I played football there, we weren't the most athletic team. We dang sure weren't the fastest team. But we played disciplined football. We all knew our assignments, and that's how we won games. Not making stupid penalties, not getting burned deep. You know what you're supposed to do, and you go out there and do it. Florida State is just every man for himself. That's what it seems to me. It seems like everybody's wanting to make the big play, make the big hit. And I saw it yesterday a lot. These athletes go out there and they think they can just lower their head and put their shoulder into somebody and knock the crap out of them.
Instead of wrapping up and fundamental tackles and stuff. Yeah. It's infuriating. And it's not just Florida State. It's everybody.
No, it's a lot of
kids don't know how to tackle anymore.
Yeah. They want to make that big play and get up and dance and jump around. It's like, make the tackle and then celebrate. Make sure that he goes down. Yeah,
there's a player for Alabama, Daniel Wright. He's one of those like feast or famine guys. Like he'll make a pick six, one play that looks amazing, and then the next play he'll like try to knock out a guy and let him score instead of wrapping up. And I'm just like, dude, like be consistent, Just be consistent. So yeah, Notre Dame really, I mean, they looked really good against Florida State on offense, but how do you almost lose to Toledo? They basically had to kick a field goal, like not as time expired, but pretty much to win the game. And it was just like, what is going on in college football this year? This is a crazy year. I mean, I can already tell it's going to be nuts. There's going to be some serious things that happen. I mean, it's weird. What else happened yesterday? A&M had a scare from Colorado, which it's a little bit excusable because their starting quarterback did get hurt in the first quarter and didn't come back. And when you lose your starter, whether he's good or not, you everything changes on offense. The cadence changes, the rhythm changes with the receivers, all that stuff. And they won I think it was on the road, wasn't it at Colorado? Can't remember, but I kept going back and forth between different games and stuff. Let's see who else. Let's talk about Arkansas, Texas for a minute. I should be surprised. I'm sorry, I should not be surprised by this result, but I really am. Like I thought Texas would win because Sarkisian's a great offensive mind, but damn, dude, Arkansas looked like a totally different team.
I think they shocked Texas. Like I don't think Texas thought that they were going to be Arkansas was going to be good.
I said last night in one of the game threads on a forum that I follow, I was like, last year's all SEC conference schedule for Sam Pittman was the best thing he could have asked for. Yeah, they only won 3 games and they got the crap beat out of them all year, but that really like tempered their team, and showed him like, hey, we haven't won a conference game in like 2 years and we won 3. That was something for them to build on. And they look like they could be a tough out for a lot of teams. They're going to run the ball.
What's crazy is they got a brand new quarterback. I mean, Felipe Franks
he's huge,
played for them last year.
Yeah. So horns down, I guess. Sorry, Texas fans.
It blows my and you hear it every single year with Texas.
We're back.
Oh, we're back. We're back, baby.
If Colt hadn't gotten hurt, that's their other one. And it's like, bro, like let it go.
It's like y'all have not been good since Vince Young.
Iowa ran all over Iowa State, and dude, I don't watch a lot of like Midwest Big 12 games, but sometimes I do, and I was kind of flipping back and forth. Every time I turned to that game, Iowa State was turning the ball over. It was crazy. Yeah. It was weird. Like I turned to it 4 times, and each time an Iowa guy was like either recovering a fumble or picking it off, and I was just like, damn, dude, they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, they had 4. They had 3 picks and 1 fumble.
Yep, and I saw all of them. I saw about 5 plays of that game, and 4 of them were the turnovers. Every time I turned to it, I was like, well, I'm not helping Iowa State. I'm just going to turn this off. They were a dark horse pick to win the Big 12, man, and they've not looked good in their first 2 games. Iowa's actually been pretty impressive.
What's crazy is neither team broke 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
You had Iowa that had 1.7 yards per rush, and Iowa State with 3.2 yards per rush. And the highest was 87 yards by Iowa State. Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. Sometimes, people say like, oh, stats don't tell the whole story. They're like, you can't look at the stat line and see that Iowa dominated that game when they had less than 100 yards rushing. And I'm like, stats do tell the whole story. You need to look at the right stats. Look at the turnovers. Okay, that was the answer.
Look at third down too.
Yeah,
I mean, you had Iowa State went 3 for 12 on third down.
Jesus, dude, that's bad.
I mean, that's pitiful.
Yeah,
and Iowa State had almost double the amount of total yards, had 339 yards.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. The team that turns it over the most almost always has more total yards, but they just can't score because they keep getting in their own way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the big game coming up next week. I believe it's a primetime game for CBS. I think they're having a doubleheader next week. Bama and Florida.
Now, is that going to be game day there? Have they?
No, and that makes sense because ESPN's not airing that game. They typically don't do that, but they're going to be at Auburn, Penn State, I believe, in State College. So that actually could be a good game too. Auburn, I mean, yeah, they've scored 60 plus points against Air in their first 2 games. Right. So we're going to find out how good they really are because there's 110,000 people in that stadium. And, Bama went there in 2011 and it wasn't an easy game. They're not going to lay down for anybody. Penn State's one of those teams that's just always going to be a tough out, especially at home.
No.
What are your thoughts on the Florida quarterback situation? Not so much the competition, but I know that number one, Emory Jones just isn't. He's not the answer, I don't think.
No.
But looks like AR-15 maybe a little banged up.
Yeah, he ran that 80 plus yard run. I mean, the kid is just unbelievable. I mean,
he scares me, dude. I'm being honest. I mean, he does. I'm not looking forward to it.
But I was glad to see him get up and walk off after that. But it looked like he might have just pulled it, tweaked it. Yeah, I was hoping it was a cramp, but when you start grabbing right below your butt cheek in the back of your leg, I mean that's never good. But
hamstrings are tough because they just linger. They don't go away.
They take forever to heal. Yeah. So even with him not running the ball, if he can get back there and throw the ball, he throws it on a dime, man. I mean, he threw a 40-yard touchdown pass moving backwards, like in the pocket.
I saw that one. Yeah.
He faked the run and then took a step back and it
was across his body a little bit too. To the left. Yeah.
To left. All the way. And Copeland Jones doesn't throw to Copeland. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Copeland's almost always, he's our best receiver by far. He's so fast. He's so big. He's like 6'4". He's a huge receiver. And when Jones gets back there, he waits way too long to make a decision.
He reminds me so much of Jalen Hurts, man. Like it's just it's the exact same. Like he won't pull the trigger, and then when he does, it's like that's the wrong guy, or it's they're very, very similar.
And don't get me wrong, like I've wanted Emory Jones since last year. I wish that they'd have put him in more, but now I see why they didn't. It's crazy.
Mullen's one of those guys that he's very loyal to guys that stick around. So I feel like he's going to give Emory his chance, but I don't know that going against Alabama's defense is necessarily the best way to do that. But historically, guys like Richardson have given Alabama fits. I mean, that's not exactly like, a revelation. Guys that are that big and that strong and that fast and that mobile give every team issues, but that traditionally has been Bama's kryptonite, so to speak, is really
mobile Newton.
Yeah, mobile guys that can throw. Johnny Manziel used to give us fits, and he's not big, but I mean, he's just slippery.
It was quick.
Yeah. I really want to go back to the all-conference schedule. I just do. I don't like these cupcake teams. We played Mercer yesterday. Great. It's a no-win situation. They run this cut block scheme that just absolutely infuriates me. And here's the thing. They're not dirty per se. Like, they're not maliciously trying to injure the defense. It's just they know they're not as strong, they're not as fast as the other team. So that's all that's their only way.
That's all they can do.
It's how they can compete to slow down the speed and stuff. And it infuriates me because, like, you're going to compete. You can't hold it against them. But at the same time, it's like, we shouldn't be scheduling these teams. We lost our second best pass rusher in week 1, Christopher Allen against Miami on a freak play. That kind of stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when you lose the best pass rusher, Will Anderson, to an absolute just straight up shot to the knee, whether it's a cheap shot or not, I'm not going to straight up call the guy out and say he was trying to injure him. I don't think he was, but that's not the point. It's still like, we lost him. He's probably not going to play at Florida. He's questionable. If he does play, I don't think he's going to be 100%. So that completely changes the defense. I mean, just we've lost our 2 pass rushers, some of the best in the nation, and it's just like, well, crap. It is what it is. Injuries are part of the game. I just, I think that Bama's offensive line better get it together, because we haven't exactly looked great in the first 2 games. We looked pretty good against Miami, but Mercer was giving us fits. Now, a lot of that is by design. Saban was like, look, I'm going to show you guys you're not invincible. I'm going to call some vanilla plays. I'm going to put you not necessarily in a he's not setting them up for failure, so to speak, but he's not exactly setting them up for success either. Everything's a teachable moment with him. I think ultimately Alabama will probably beat Florida, but I'm not going to be like comfortable the entire game. I think this is going to be like, if it's a double-digit win, it'll be like maybe 10 points. Like, I don't think it's going to be a blowout like everybody suggests. I just don't have a great feeling about this game. It would not surprise me at all if Mullen comes in and just runs the ball all over us and mixes stuff up with things he hasn't shown yet. I don't know. What's your feeling on this game?
I think we're going to lean heavy on our run, especially if AR can't. It's not 100%.
Yeah,
I think Mullins knows that Jones has a problem with finding the right receiver to throw to.
Yeah.
Which brings me back, after the post-game conference, one of the reporters asked him about loyalty, and is that leaning towards why he's starting Jones? He's like, oh no, I play the best players for the position. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
yeah,
AR-15 might be the best player on the entire offense and defense. Like, give me a break, but yeah. I mean, I have faith in Mullins. He's a head football coach, been a football coach, just won his 100th game. Like, he knows what he's doing. I'm just a guy sitting on my couch wishing that I could be out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I have faith in Mullins, but I think we're going to lean real heavy on our runs. We got 5 really good running backs. I mean, every one of them can start on any team in the league, I believe. I'm a big Pierce fan. Love Dameon Pierce. He broke Herschel Walker's high school football carry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He's from Georgia, and he's really, really good. And I think he's underused. I think that we should start him more and give him more touches, because when he touches the ball, he does some amazing things. But I think we're going to lean real heavy on rushing against Alabama. It's going to be rushing and trying to burn the clock down, because we don't want y'all to have the football.
Yeah, I will say that if Alabama can stop the run, like if Alabama can't, like if Florida can't throw the ball, it's gonna be a long day for UF.
Yep.
I don't think Florida's lines are going to be able to hold up all game. If Will Anderson is out, all bets are off. If he's in and even like 90%, we will be pressuring the quarterback, and that's going to happen. Bama's offensive line could be a little bit of a liability in this game. I'm not too familiar with Florida's defense. How have you guys been at pressuring the quarterback so far this year?
good. I think we've got. I want to say the first game we got 3 or 4 sacks. Maybe it's 6. We've been doing pretty good with pressure on the quarterback, but we've played 2 not so great teams either.
Sure. Yeah, USF was not a very good barometer. They got their asses kicked by NC State last week, and that's really saying something. So we'll see how it turns out. Ultimately, I feel like Saban was kind of, I don't want to use the word toying with Mercer, but he was using them as a tool, yesterday saying, hey, look, you guys are not invincible. You need to play every play. Don't underestimate any opponent. I don't love the fact that the game is in Gainesville, but Alabama's always been very good on the road under Saban. I mean, we're good, period. I mean, it is what it is. I am a little I'm much more nervous about Ole Miss than I am Florida. I'm not very nervous at all about Texas A&M. Even with Haynes King, I don't think they're as good as everyone says they are. Maybe they will be, but Ole Miss is scaring me right now, legit. Florida's up there. I'm a little nervous about this game, but ultimately I still think Bama pulls it out. That's just me.
All right. I think, and me, I know you're an Alabama fan. I'm a Florida fan. I think it can go either way. I really do.
I would not be surprised if Florida wins. I really won't. We've not
I'm
had
excited nonetheless. Yeah. Hopefully it's no matter what, I hope it's a close game and we get a good game all in all, whether win or loss.
A lot of people on Facebook and YouTube are saying like, Bama's going to win by 24. And I'm just like, guys, I don't think that's going to happen. I'll be shocked if Bama blows out Florida. It would not surprise me to be like a 2-score win, but it'll be like a late score that takes us up 10 or 14 or whatever. But, I don't see it being like last year's game because it's 2 totally different offenses. I think it's going to be more akin to the like 2008, 2009 type of game, much more smash mouth, So,
well, here's how I look at it: if we lose to Alabama, and then we win out and beat Georgia and everybody on our team after y'all,
I think you have a good chance to beat Georgia. I really do.
We'll see y'all again in the SEC championship. So that I think it'll be good either way, whether we win or lose. Y'all are the number 1 team in the nation, so if we hold it close, we're not going to fall far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if we do lose a conference game, I definitely want it to be to someone in the East, just because losing to the cross division is much easier to overcome. Because if you win all your other division games, you're still the winner of that division. And I mean, conference losses is a conference loss. But if you lose to a team in the East, you win all your Western games, you're going to Atlanta. Same thing with you guys. So, it could be. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll have some more. We may have depending on how good the game is, we may do like a little post game reaction. Just to kind of see how things go. I'd like to start live streaming some games, but I know there's definitely some like legality stuff involved with that. So I'm going to look into that to see what we can do. We may just have some maybe have like cameras on us and just have a chat open or something while we watch the game. Could be pretty cool. Any final thoughts before we end it?
I'm super glad we got college football back. This is my favorite time of year. We got football, and then next month is hunting season. So this is all
there was a little bit of not a chill, but there was a little bit of fall in the air yesterday. Yes. My wife made some chili, and I was like, man, this is awesome. This is it's great to be back, and hopefully, we'll have a good game next week. Look out, for some more videos. Please consider subscribing if you want to keep up with everything we're doing.
And interact with you with us. If you think that we're wrong or didn't hit on something you want to talk about in the comments,
let us know.
We're in there and we'll answer your questions. And
it's difficult for us because we want to talk about Florida and Alabama so much, but that's just because we're so entrenched in the fandom. So definitely let us know things you'd like us to talk about, some other teams you want us to kind of look at. And we'll do it. We'll have fun.
All right, guys.
Fanout, guys. See ya.